one of the things that I do a lot of is I do a lot of strategic planning initiatives with organizations. And by the way, for those that might be listening, the realities are if you have a strategic plan that was created, sometime, before 2008, then you basically might as well just throw it away and let's start over again. Everything changed after 2008, and it's going to continue to be pretty much the way it is for many, many years to come. And so a lot of organizations are calling us and they say, well, will you facilitate with us a strategic planning exercise? And I said, well, I'd be happy to do that. And so I'll go to them. And we have a model of planning, and it really seems to work. But typically what they want to talk about is they want to talk about, facilities. What kind of facilities do we need in order to be able to accomplish our mission? What kind of curriculum do we need in order to be able to accomplish our mission objectives? What kind of extracurricular opportunities do we want to provide that make people, be able to, complete their life experience, through the kinds of real opportunities that oftentimes can be made available by going on a mission trip or something of that nature. We talk about personnel issues and so forth, and we kind of really hone in on that, and we kind of work on a planning process using the model that we use. And I've done it that way for years. And I changed probably a few years ago, and we primarily focus on strategic planning now, not on the basis, we look at those things, the facilities and curriculum and so forth. We look at mission initiatives, obviously, because they're very important, and that's where all planning should begin. Every bit of planning that takes place in an organization should start by profiling, and what I mean by profiling is creating a picture of the ideal of what every clause of your mission statement would look like if it was 100% successful. In other words, we're going to be committed to providing excellence in education. Well, what does that look like? I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. You've got to make it more quantifiable if, in fact, it's going to be something that I can essentially plan. And so we kind of walk through that process with them, and we would do that with everyone. But what I'm finding out now, basically because of the emphasis that's being placed now in the world in which we live upon outcomes versus outputs, is that let's talk about if you were successful, 20 years from now or 10 years from now, let's look at the product that you're delivering and what would it look like 20 years from now. If it's a person, obviously, as it is in most of the organizations that be watching this, what would that person look like 10 or 20 years from now? And once we can get that really clear in our mind, then we do a process that I call backward mapping. We're going to go back to where it is that we were and where it is we are. We're going to assess the deficiencies of what it is that exists now and begin to quantify those deficiencies, prioritize those deficiencies, and plan how we're going to accomplish that. And interestingly enough, that really doesn't cost much money. But we just live, and I think this is part of the American way, is that we live with the idea that money thrown at anything is going to resolve everything. And it's never worked in government, and it's never worked in Christian organizations.